agency period to bolster the defense, the team signed former Tennessee Titan outside linebacker Travis Gibson. The Jags announced on Monday he's one of 3 new free agents to sign on the defensive side in the past few days. The Jaguars have signed defensive lineman Eric Armstead, who says his relationship with general manager Trent Baalke helped sway his decision.
Me and Trent have a good relationship as well. And so that definitely factored into it, feeling comfortable, coming out here.
University of South Florida basketball will get a taste of postseason play. The Bulls will play in the 2024 NIT. They'll travel to number 4 seeded University of Central Florida in the first round this evening at 9 p.m. in Orlando. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:03, it's 48 degrees. Time and Sen brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I feel like I can do it all. I did so much when I was at Buffalo, whether if it was, catching deep balls or, lead blocking through the C gap. I feel like I'm very versatile and can, play any type of game that needs to be played, whichever week.
There's Allen taken to the right, going to the end zone. And who else? Dave Davis with the touchdown catch on the opening drive.
I think it's going to go very well. And, I plan to have a long career. I think I got a good 5 or 6 more years in me. So I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
I done did it before, going to teams and didn't really have it all the way together. Then early years, a new head coach and stuff, you got to deal with just that early year. But I know this team, is moving forward, moving up.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are on the up. Sure we are. Jaguars Today, lifting off on this Tuesday. Good morning, Tony Smith.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're all short-sleeved up. It's like winter weather is back in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah. Winter weather in Jacksonville,
It's
50
relative.
is okay.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Right. High of 60 today.
Yeah.
So I think we'll survive. Pockets and I broke out the white 1010XL hoodie
Merch.
in tandem. The merch. That's right. The swag. Pockets, you got your top 5 ready to rock
I do.
today?
Do you have your top 5 ready to go?
I have 10 in my top 5. I have 2 top 5s. So I've got my first top 5, my second top 5. But yes, I do have my top 5 ready to go today. We'll get to that coming up. We got a lot stuffed into today's program, Tony. Honestly, you should probably spread this out, but why not? Let's just get crazy with it. We got Hayes Carline coming up today at 10:40. Talk about all the latest Jaguar stuff, which includes the signing of Eric Armstead, who spoke yesterday. We'll hear from Armstead himself on what made him choose Jacksonville, how he thinks he fits into this defense, and all those wonderful things. Our top 5 today, after a 1-week hiatus due to being on location out at the Players' Championship last week, we're asking you today, with the major work in free agency behind the Jaguars, what is your realistic top 5 player wish list for the Jags with the 17th pick in the draft? This is a guy you think has a decent chance, not a mortal lock to be available at 17, but if I see any list with Marvin Harrison Jr., then I know you have failed the assignment, right? There's no scenario where Marvin Harrison, barring a face mask, gas mask, bong video that comes out. And even then, Tony's probably only sliding to about 10, right? Probably. He's not getting to 17, no matter what kind of videos we put out about him. Saw the tweet yesterday. Mia O'Brien has been following the Brandon Aiyuk story. I'll call it a story, right? Because there is some interest, apparently, from the Jaguars' end in acquiring Brandon Aiyuk from the San Francisco 49ers, who's going into the last year of his rookie deal. He's going to be playing on the 5th-year option. He's got a pretty good chunk of cash coming his way this year, and he's only got 1 year left on that deal. So obviously, if you trade something for Brandon Aiyuk of any significance, you're going to want to lock him up to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
So Mia's report yesterday was that the Niners' asking price was the 17th pick in the draft and Zay Jones. And not to be cold to Zay, the Zay part of it matters not at all.
Not a bit.
To me, right? Because at that point, Zay Jones, if Brandon Aiyuk comes here, Zay Jones is clearly your 4th receiving option.
If you re-sign Ridley, you're cutting Zay Jones.
Correct.
If you bring in another top end of the depth chart wide receiver right now, Zay Jones is gone.
Yes. So that aspect of it didn't bother me. Like, that to me, let's say they didn't ask for Zay. You're right, Tone. They trade for Aiyuk. We're just going to cut Zay. Zay's going to go. He's not going to be here, right, in that scenario, overwhelmingly likely. The 17th pick, though, I think has been a bridge too far for the Jags if this report is on the money. And I'm not saying it's not, right? I just don't have that. Whoever's telling me that this is the way it went down, I'm learning of it through her, right? So the idea is, okay, the 17th pick, you can get a cost-controlled option.
Yeah.
That you're going to pay less for the entirety of the 4 years of their rookie deal, not counting the fifth-year option season, but the first 4 years of the deal, they'll earn less than Brandon Aiyuk will likely make in his first year of a renegotiated contract. Reports are he's looking for like $27.5 million per year on an average basis. You know, so you look at where Ridley came in at $23 million and his deal with the Titans. Now Aiyuk's younger. I think Aiyuk's a fantastic route runner, super physical in the run game. I think he'd be a wonderful fit with this Jaguar football team, Tony. I, too, don't want to give up the 17th pick in the draft when I can control that guy. Would I trade from 17 to 31 and do it? Yeah. Would I do it for the second-round pick? Yeah, I would. But I'm not giving the 17th pick and a top-of-the-market wide receiver contract. If we want to go get a top-of-the-market wide receiver, find another way to trade for one and pay for one, because too many guys out there are going for pennies on the dollar, particularly when you've got to then turn around and give them that big, fat contract. So if that's the way it went down, I don't fault the Jaguars for saying that's too steep a price for me.
I'm not surprised they would say no if that is the way the negotiations went. I would do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'd give up the 17th pick and pay him. I would. You know, I'd be willing to go that far to get a guy like Aiyuk, but I can understand why they wouldn't. Like, all the reasons you just laid out, I get it. Why a team would say no, but to me, it's in that same kind of rate. It's the Josh Allen thing to me again. I'm willing to pay more than they seem to be willing to pay, right, for some of this stuff. I can understand their rationale for not having paid it, you know, to this point, and for 17 and the contract being too much for them. I get it. I'm not saying it's unreasonable to feel that way if you're the team. I disagree. I would be willing to go up the 17th pick and pay him 27. That's fine.
Yeah,
that wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, that's for me, that's just too good of an asset. That's got to be part of the core of your team going forward, whoever you get. Now, granted, the Jags have blown plenty of first-round picks.
Sure.
That's why the core of their team isn't as good as it could be. Just because you haven't hit on and I get the argument, well, Bulky's going to blow that pick, right? Maybe Bulky's actually done well in the first round.
Yeah, like I would look at using the 17th pick to get Aiyuk, even if you have to pay him, you hit the pick. Like, that's the way that I would look at it too. And I get the idea if I could control it, it's cheaper. Like, again, I think all that rationale is reasonable. I don't think it's crazy, you know, to go at it from that direction. I'd be willing to gamble on Aiyuk.
Well, you can weigh in on that if you'd like to today. Would you give the 17th pick and give Brandon Aiyuk a top-of-the-market wide receiver contract, or is that too steep for you? But today's main question of the day is, who are the top 5 players? What's your wish list look like for the 17th pick in the draft? We decided today to go from 1 to 5 because I think we're going to have some usual suspects and maybe it'll get a little bit more diverse. Instead of building towards some of the obvious candidates, we'll get those out of the way first. So, Pockets, won't we fire up number 1?
Number 1.
All right, Tone, go ahead. Bat lead off. Who you got number 1 on your wish list right now for the Jags?
Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. If any of the top 3 wide receivers in this draft, Harrison, Neighbors, Adunze, if any of them were there, I'd run it to the podium at 17 for any of those guys, but I don't think there's much of a chance that any of them will be. I think Thomas is the fourth best wide receiver in this draft. 4.33 at the combine, 6'3", so his side speed, scored 17 touchdowns last year on top of it.
In the SEC.
Yeah, Thomas is number 1 on my list.
He's easy for me at number 1, too. Not that I said yesterday, I think corner is the biggest need, but to me, he stands out. It's Thomas or Adonai Mitchell, I'm a little bit more skeptical about at that spot. Trade back in the first round, get him with the second-round pick where he doesn't look like he's going to last to the 48th selection. I'm not as confident. Others may be, and they'll be, you're crazy. Whatever. That's my list. I'm with you. I like Brian Thomas. I think he is a potential top-of-the-depth chart guy. Now, I would put personally, I'll say 50-50 whether he's going to be there with the 17th pick. Yeah. I don't think any of these guys are necessarily mortal locks. We can't know what other teams feel about them. But I think there's at least half of the scenarios that play out. I think Brian Thomas will be available.
I eliminated the 3 guys that aren't going to be there.
Yeah, I know I've seen a lot of Adunze from people. I know you'll see a mock occasionally that hasn't gone to 17. I just don't see it.
If he's there, run it to the podium.
Sure. But we're trying to be realistic with guys we think will be there.
Yep.
I think he's gone in the top 10 picks. Pockets, who you got at number 1?
I got Mitchell, the DB at Toledo. The number 1 need of this team needs right now going into the draft, how it stands right now, is corner. And from the reports that we saw from the Senior Bowl, he was the top corner. He was covering the best receivers in practice and was doing well. I think he's the best corner in this draft. So if Mitchell's there, you got to take him number 1.
I think we're all going to have him somewhere in the top 5 today. So we'll see how it goes as the countdown goes along. We'll come back with some audio from Eric Armstead, who joined the Jaguars over the last week in free agency. What are his thoughts on this team and where they're headed in 2024? So we'll get into that coming up. Hayes Carline a little bit later on in the hour, and we'll go with the countdown all throughout the program today. You can send us yours in a variety of ways on the phone lines, the All-Pro Roofing phone lines at 641-1010. Same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Back to that now, are we? All right, so there you have it. And also the YouTube chat wide open for you if you want to hop in there as well. We'll come back with some audio from one of the newest Jaguars. Haven't even talked about Travis Gibson yet, who is new as of post-show yesterday. So we'll get into that as well when Hayes joins us a little bit later on in the hour. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark kicking off a fresh one today. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. You want to kick off a fresh one, a fresh day, a fresh breakfast with Dandy is always delicious. Head to the Gate Station. If you need to fill up your tank, you know you got that. Grab a cup of coffee and peruse the offerings over there at the Fresh Case. That's where Dandy operates, because everything with Dandy is always fresh, always delicious. They've got a ton of breakfast items out there that you can start your day off right with. I can't list them all, but think about this: buttermilk biscuits, soft flaky croissants, French toast, light tasty maple waffles, sizzling country sausage, black forest ham, thick sliced bacon. You getting hungry yet? Peppered fried eggs, Wisconsin cheddar cheese, on and on it goes. All the different combinations that Dandy can put together with those. They've got them out there for you. They've got them fresh and delicious and really ready for any time of day. You want to start your day off right with Dandy? That's a great way to do it. But if you're driving around Duval and you get hungry, Dandy's always there for you. So when you do get hungry, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
It's Jaguars Today Tuesday.
Brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes from the JOI Studios at 1010XL. JOI, where the pros go. Even more Jaguars. Listen to the Tommy Mac podcast with Tom McManus and Campo and Joe with Dave Campo and Joe C. Find these original podcasts at 1010XL.com or on Twitter at 1010XL.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now, only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
Jeff Prosser here. Need that garage floor redone? Pool deck? Patio? Well, I did my homework and found out there is only one company offering a lifetime warranty, Jack's Concrete Coating. How do they do it? They're the certified Pintech dealer for North Florida, so they are the only company offering pure polyurea. Trust me, I can speak firsthand to their work, and it is awesome. Go to jacksconcretecoatings.com or call 904-862-2000.
Madness is almost here. Well, String Sports Brewery in historic Springfield is the place to go for all the tournament action. The atmosphere is unrivaled. Our show will be there live from 3 to 6 on Friday, March 22nd. So come watch hoops and shoot hoops with us. That's Friday, March 22nd from 3 to 6. Soak in all the madness at String Sports Brewery. Family, beer, sports, and Madness at Strings. Come out and see us in Springfield at Strings Sports Brewery.
At Duck Rooter, we understand plumbing issues can be a real inconvenience for your building or business, and we're here to help. We can handle all kinds of plumbing jobs, including broken pipes, clogged drains, line jetting, installing water heaters, and full repipes. Need a camera inspection or a smoke test? Yes, Duck Rooter does that too. Plus, our lift station services include inspections, monitoring, cleaning, and repairs. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769.
Bridging the gap between the First Coast and the swamp.
Gators.
I'm Taylor Dahl. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts on 1010XL.
American Electrical is looking for bright minds and hard workers to help light up North Florida. This community continues to grow, and now you can grow your career with a company that will make sure you succeed through commitment. American Electrical even has its own academy dedicated to training select students the electrical trade, and the best news, it's free of charge. Log on to american-electrical.com to find out more. They're leading the way in electrical contractors on the First Coast. american-electrical.com.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kids Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call WindowWorld today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
WindowWorld, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
WindowWorld also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Yeah, it all happened very quickly. You know, my free agency was a little delayed. And so, you know, Wednesday when I was officially released and had the opportunity to talk to some teams, it all happened, you know, very fast.
That's Eric Armstead, newest Jaguars defensive tackle. We'll hear more from him coming up. Said obviously the whole thing went down quickly. He got released and was a Jacksonville Jaguar practically in the blink of an eye. We'll get back to his thoughts on what made Jacksonville a good fit for him from his perspective, Tony. But let's jump back with number 2 in our countdown today, going through the top 5 players on our wish list for the 17th pick now that most of free agency has settled down.
Number 2.
All right, number 2 for me. This is where I get a little multiple. If I had to pick a number 2 guy, I'd pick Quinion Mitchell, okay? But I'm just going to go with big corner here. I don't want Nate Wiggins. I don't want one of these little guys, right? So whether it's Mitchell or Terry and Arnold, who, by the way, Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah, both with mock drafts out today, both have the Jags selecting Terry and Arnold with that pick. I'm fine with that. I'm fine if it's Cooper DeJean, if that's who they love at that pick. But I don't want a 180-pound corner when he's soaking wet. You know, I want one of these big physical guys that projects as a number 1. Even if you feel like Tyson Campbell is a number 1, that's fine. Give me another one of those. I do think it is the biggest need that the Jags have on the roster. That doesn't mean I covet any of those players more than Brian Thomas directly, obviously. Pockets, who you got at number 2?
I got Cooper DeJean, like you mentioned. I thought he'll be well here if he comes, and he's for the culture, as ET would say.
That's what I hear. All right, so Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, we're still a month away from we're still a couple weeks away from his workout.
Right. Obviously, I'm going to assume he gets through that with flying colors. He has, puts up good numbers. He's healthy, all those kind of things.
For me at number 2, Quentin Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. Mocked less to the Jaguars now than he was early in the process. He's usually, virtually every mock draft I see, he's coming off the board like 15.
Yeah, right around there. Right. But, that's to the Colts often, right, who have been connected with L'Jarius Sneed. Now, not that we want him to have L'Jarius Sneed, right, but if they were to get a deal done.
But it does seem like the reports over the weekend were that was a done deal, and now it's like they haven't even talked.
Well,
like
those
are the reports that are coming out now. So who knows what's going to happen with any of that. But, yeah, if they went that direction and got Sneed, then Mitchell would be off the board there. But he is coming off before the Jags in most mocks. Right now, his Senior Bowl and Combine seem to have placed him firmly in the argument to be the first corner taken, potentially in this year's draft among everybody, right? Like he could be the first cornerback to have his name called in the draft, but certainly number 2 on my list there, Quentin Mitchell.
Yeah, officially he's my number 2 as well. All right, let's get back to Eric Armstead here. We had a little fun with this yesterday. I'm looking at you, Doom. Come on now. He knows I sub-speak to him. I don't sub-tweet him. I sub-speak to him. As he suggested perhaps Eric Armstead. What if Eric Armstead would have no interest in Jacksonville because of his relationship? He knows what Trent Baalke's all about. Well, that relationship, according to Eric Armstead, was a key reason that he chose to come to Jacksonville.
Me and Trent have a great relationship. He drafted me 9 years ago back in San Francisco, and we were able to talk and discuss my situation and where I'm at in my career, and I feel like this was the best decision for me and my family, and I'm really excited to get it going. We've had a great relationship, being with him for those few years, drafting me, getting to know me as a young guy, and then him kind of watching me from afar. When we play the Jags, I will always see him, right there pregame, and we would talk. And, the sentiment of how proud he was of me and how my career has gone. He felt like he made a good decision then, and he felt like he's making a good decision now. And having that, someone that you are comfortable with and have been around, is going to make this transition much smoother.
I want to be clear here. I don't think Eric Armstead's like, hey, Trent, can I crash on your couch, right? No. I'm not saying they have to be buddies or anything. I think, honestly, in this circumstance, Tone, if there was some bad blood, I could see a player with a previous bad relationship with somebody avoiding that.
Yeah.
Now, at times, we do see guys have that relationship. Look, I think the Jags offered 3 years, $51 million, right? If Trent Baalke weren't the GM here, I think that would have been attractive to Eric Armstead regardless, right? So I'm not trying to pretend like it's only because of Baalke. It's just that it is possible that Trent Baalke actually has friends, right? That there are people that, or at least colleagues that he gets along with. And I get it. Eric Armstead, he was drafted by Trent Baalke. Why wouldn't? But he didn't have to choose to come here. And he did have other suitors, apparently, in free agency. And it went down pretty quickly. And put it this way, at least that relationship, if it wasn't something that pushed it across the finish line, it certainly didn't seem to be a hindrance.
Yeah, it didn't get in the way of Armstead winding up here. Armstead was also asked, it's still early in this process, obviously, but he was asked about how he thinks he fits into the Jags defense.
I could play a multitude of roles in it, from lining up on the edge and playing the run to moving inside as a pass rusher. So I'm excited to see how, the plans are and how they plan on using me.
Yeah, so are we, right? Like when they give some 3-4 looks, I would imagine he'd play big end, but he's going to be inside rushing the quarterback on third down and hopefully collapsing pockets and making life easier for Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker and everybody else for that matter.
And to some degree, it answers the question on how interested they are in Trayvon Walker pushing inside on third downs to some degree. Not that there won't be some instances where they will play him next to Armstead on the inside of that defensive line.
Absolutely, sure.
But it does seem like they're very happy with that guy playing on the outside, and why wouldn't they be? He had a great year.
Yeah, he did. But look, if they were to go like the Jared Verse route or something like that, and I'm not saying they will, but if they were, and they saw enough, and who knows what the vision would be in terms of the long term with, the Josh Allen potential contract extension. I think that's the one thing that makes me skeptical that they would go with a pick that high. And maybe they'll look at Travis Gibson as being, their primary third rusher off the bench in terms of being an outside edge guy. Who knows? All right, let's see here. Money, as we mentioned. Look, doesn't matter. Bulky here. You can call this San Francisco East. It doesn't matter how good was the money that Eric Armstead got offered. So that's always going to be a big factor in free agency.
Money is a big factor. You have to take care of your family. I have to take care of my family. So financially, it is a big, deal in the situation. We play football because we love the game, and, we've been blessed and we're passionate and we love it. We make sacrifices, but, those sacrifices at the end of the day are to, take care of the people that we love. And so, contractually, that is a big deal.
And Eric, along those lines, also said money helps, but only so much.
It's a big deal, but it's not the only deal. You don't want to be in a bad situation where you're miserable and unhappy, and then money. What's really money at that point when you're feel terrible. So getting that piece taken care of, and then have an opportunity to learn about the city and people's experience playing here and living here. Just really sold me on coming down to Jacksonville.
He did tweet out, Eric Armstead, a couple days ago, how he wanted a, quote, masterclass on catching up on learning about Duval, right? What's there to do here? What's it all about? And I saw Demetrius. I don't know if we'll hear him address this directly, but I saw Demetrius Harvey tweet yesterday. He said he was asked, completely accidental or completely coincidental. Let's put it that way. It had no relation to bulky masterclass. Okay, so it would have been tremendous. Hey, Eric, if you could slip in masterclass out there on social media, that'd be great. All right, let's see here. Health and injury history. You had a meniscus cleanup. Let's get an update. He says he's confident on where he is health-wise.
I'm very confident. These past couple of years, I've had some random nagging things going on. But football is a sport with 100% injury rate. People want to talk about my past 2 years, and, I missed 4 or 5 games last year, but I finished the playoffs. I played in the Super Bowl. Before, kind of these past 2 years, I hadn't missed a game in 5 years.
He was also asked about, is there any update with the surgery he had this offseason with the meniscus injury?
He's feeling good. Surgery went great. I'll be back very soon. And I'm excited about that. I'm on a very good road to recovery. So plan on being back to, playing football full time very soon.
Well, and that's very soon can mean a lot of different things, right? Yeah. I'd seen one report that he should be ready by training camp. Now, this is before he was released by the San Francisco 49ers. So the good thing is he's had the surgery. It went well. Shouldn't be an issue for this season. If he gets hurt, it's not because it's a lingering type situation. Should be completely taken care of. And to the point where Eric Armstead said yesterday he thinks he still has another half decade of productive football ahead.
Injuries are a part of sports. And, I have my plan together in place to make sure that I'm putting my body and myself in the best position to be out there for my team. And I'm going to do that. And, I think it's going to go very well. And, I plan to have a long career. I think I got a good 5 or 6 more years in me. So I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
I mean, look at Calais Campbell, Tony. He's still a productive guy, right? That's a guy whose game and style of play, Eric Armstead's game, has been compared to. And if he could play out the full 3 years of that deal and play up to that contract, that would be fantastic here in the middle of the Jags defensive line. We'll hear more from Eric Armstead coming up next hour and his thoughts on how he's going to fit in with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, among other issues. But we'll get the Hammer up next to get his thoughts on all things Jags. The week that was in free agency, Calvin Ridley, couldn't keep him around these parts. What about the guys they were able to sign? What about the pursuit of Brandon Aiyuk? Where do they go from here? Who's at the top of Hayes' wish list for the 17th pick in the draft? That and more coming your way next. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Jaguars Today Tuesday on 1010XL.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes.
Picture a man going on a journey beyond sight and sound.
Picture a journey with 1010XL.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament.
Do they really give you a free pint of Miller Lite for each game you pick right?
Yes. All you got to do is fill out your bracket at 1010XL.com. The overall winner gets tickets to the Luke Combs concert and wings at the show. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it to any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the free beer Mr. Chubby's Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Exciting news from All Pro Roofing. Effective right now, you can get an instant roof quote. Just click the Instant Roof Quote tab on their website. Whether you're in need of roofing, exterior siding, or windows, All Pro Roofing is your local partner for quality craftsmanship. Click the Instant Roof tab and voila! Get an instant quote. It's that simple. Click on the Instant Roof Quote tab today at allproroofingllc.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CBC 060138.
Denny Thompson here. Tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give yourself peace of mind catching everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. For safety and convenience, Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. I'm talking HD recording, night vision, and remote alerts all from your phone or computer. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now at 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
Track the off-season with Tire Outlet and 1010XL.
With the debut appearance of 2 new players.
Free agency coverage on 1010XL is brought to you by Superior Fence and Rail and Roland Reish Plumbing.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Pickett here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy, higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Are you tired of living with constant pain from torn ligaments or nagging tendinitis and bothersome joint pain? Say goodbye to endless medications and invasive surgeries. Go BioTarget Regenerative Treatment is available only at injury care centers. Their innovative approach helps you recover faster and get back to doing what you love without drugs or surgery. Don't just treat the symptoms, target the root cause with BioTarget. Visit GoBioTarget.com to learn more and schedule your appointment today.
The best campfire stories happen when the sun goes down. And the best savings happen at General RV during the RV Show After Party Sale, March 20th through the 24th. RV shows are over. But you can still get a low RV show price, and that'll save you thousands. Plus, come in to see how you can camp on us this summer. Start your next campfire story with how much you saved, only at General RV. In Orange Park on Wells Road off 295.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
You can't touch this.
Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we got Hayes Carline, the Hammer, joining us here post-free agency. Rumors continue to swirl around the Jags and players they're looking to acquire. A lot of the heavy lifting is done before the NFL draft. Hayes, good morning. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Doing great, gentlemen. How are you all? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. Great week out at the Players last week, but now we're ready to focus our attention. It's a downhill sprint to the NFL draft. Hayes, just overall, how do you feel the Jags did in terms of accomplishing what they set out to do last week?
I think they had a really strong week, considering they didn't have the resources of the Texans, Colts, and Titans. I think they definitely got better. I was concerned early on because I thought the offseason got off to a shaky start with the Josh Allen decision and not being able to tag Ridley. But I thought they rebounded well to get Mitch Morse. That's certainly a huge upgrade at center. That was the number one need. To bring in a player like Aiyuk Armstead along the defensive front. And Gabe Davis is somebody that I have a lot of confidence is going to play good football here. I like the fact that he's been a consistent touchdown scorer, and he's still such a young player. So, yeah, I really like those moves. I think Savage was a surprise for me that they addressed safety, but I like the move. So I think they've had a really strong free agent period, and I'm now curious to see what they do in the draft.
What has your reaction been to the Aiyuk Armstead comparisons to Calais Campbell for the last few days?
Yeah, obviously it makes sense, the frame and the athleticism where he is in his career. There's certainly eerie parallels between the two. If Armstead obviously has 85% of the career Calais had here, it'll be a wonderful signing. But I think it's exactly what they needed. Again, we talked about, one of the key stats from last season. We get it's a passing league, but you do have to be somewhat competent running the ball and stopping the run. And they were 3.6 yards per carry running it, and they were 4.2 allowing it per carry. So, that had to change. So Mitch Morse, Aiyuk Armstead, they should certainly help get that number back to where it's more even. Frankly, it's amazing they won 9 games with their yards per carry being 3.6 and the opponent being at 4.2.
Hayes, if we learned nothing else last week, it's that Trent Baalke has an unlimited reserve of salary cap space to splash around. Like you mentioned, I was surprised they were able to be this aggressive. They signed Gabe Davis, and your immediate thought might be, oh, all right, Calvin Ridley probably not in the picture. No, they're still in on Calvin Ridley, and then, couldn't get it done with Ridley. They pivoted to Armstead. So let's say if it came down to they might have been able to get Ridley, let's say if they gave him the same deal the Titans did, and they could fit that in under the cap. Would you rather have Ridley here under that deal, or would you rather have Armstead deal here under his deal if, in fact, you could have only had one?
I'd rather have Armstead. I think he's going to make a bigger difference, and I do think Gabe Davis was a savvy signing and somebody that I do think has upside that hasn't been tapped into yet. So for me, it's Armstead. I certainly would listen. Obviously Calvin Ridley's a talented player. I think the Titans gave him I think it's a terrible deal for them. It's a great deal for Calvin. But I think ultimately that's a signing that they're going to regret. So for me, it's Armstead. It's not particularly close. Would have loved to have seen Ridley come back, but I never dreamed they'd get a player like Armstead along the defensive front.
Hayes, it appears that the talk about this has cooled off now, but for 4 or 5 days, the Jags were connected to Brandon Aiyuk, at least indirectly, right? And if the price was the 17th pick in the draft, Zay Jones, and whatever contract you would have to give, would you be willing to pay that for Brandon Aiyuk?
I would not. It's too rich for my blood. I'd be willing to give him a second and a third that could bump to a second maybe next year if he hits certain incentives. But no, I wouldn't give up the 17th pick in the draft for Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I can see both sides of it. I really can. We got a lot of feedback. Tony and I talked about it right at the top of the show. A lot of people on the text line saying, hey, you know what? At least we know we're getting a sure thing commodity. It's that big contract on top of it, Hayes. This team needs to get some star-level talent on cost-controlled contracts here sooner rather than later. Speaking of, star-level talent, Josh Allen is that guy. Where are you at the moment after the dust kind of settles on him getting his deal worked out by the July deadline, or do you think it's more likely at this point that he's playing on the tag?
I think it would benefit Josh Allen to play on the tag. I don't know that that's where it will land, but my hope is that they get a deal done, and sooner rather than later. His cap number is $24 million on the franchise tag. So if you were able to get the deal done, and that first year number dropped to like $7 million, that'd be $17 million that you could go spend. There will be free agents still there. Once we get past the comp pick formula time, so you get to June, July before camp opens. It'd be nice to have some money maybe to supplement your edge. It'd be nice to have money at the deadline. If you wanted to make a move there for a player of some, high contract structure, that you'd be able to take on the second half of that deal for the season. So, that'd be good flexibility to have. But I keep coming back to, if I was Josh Allen, if I was advising him, I wouldn't sign the tag. I'd wait it out. I'd report 5 days before the season starts. Then I'd sign the tender. I'd play on the tag, and then I would dare the Jaguars to either tag me again next year at a much higher rate, or do the extension, or I get to hit the market. So, I think Trent Baalke has now turned all the cards over to Josh Allen, and that's dangerous. That's why it was such a mistake to wait so long to try and kickstart talks on a deal. The Jaguars needed to get this deal done. I don't blame them for not getting it done 2 years ago, because we didn't see 17.5 sacks coming. So I don't blame them for that. But they certainly saw it coming as the season progressed. And to not make him more of a priority in January was a massive error. And now I think all the leverage is on Josh Allen's side.
They've added Gabe Davis. They were obviously interested in getting Calvin Ridley back, but not at that price. They've shown whatever level of interest they've shown in Brandon Aiyuk. How do you feel about the Jaguars' depth chart at wide receiver as it currently stands?
I think it's intriguing. I really like Christian Kirk when he's healthy. I think he's a tremendous asset. I think Gabe Davis is going to play well. What I like about him is that he's been, in terms of touchdown catches, he's been 7-6, 7-7, so he's consistent. I don't think that that'll change. Obviously, Josh Allen has some credit to that, but I think Trevor Lawrence can keep that going. I like Zay Jones when he's healthy. I think he's reliable. I think he makes plays. He's clutch. I'm intrigued to see what young players like Cooks and Washington can be. So I think there's some decent pieces there. I mean, you'd have to count Duvernay, but he's more of a returner. So I don't think it's a bad group. I mean, again, it seems like the strategy is sort of, well, we're not going to have this dominant one, but we're going to have, particularly when you're counting Evan Ingram, you're going to have 3 or 4 really quality options for Trevor Lawrence when he drops back. Now, having said that, I do think they should take a receiver in the second, third round somewhere in there to continue to build the position up, because you're going to need some drafted guys in there at some point from a salary standpoint. But I don't think it's a bad group right now because of how they want to play. They want to distribute it. They want to be able to play to the matchup of the opponent, and with guys like Christian and Gabe and Zay and Evan, I think they have the potential to do that.
Yeah, they have guys like they could play like in lineup today. You could play Ronald Darby opposite Tyson Campbell, right? You could have Antonio Johnson covering slot receivers. But if you're looking at a position of need, even though, technically you've got a guy for all these spots, is corner still at the top of the list as things stand right now?
It is for me by a mile. I think corner is it just screams out that it needs a starter. And again, so I think at 17, the good news is there'll be multiple corners there. They'll probably have, the second guy off the board, is probably where they'll be standing. Maybe you're looking at the third corner, but, you look at the mocks, Kuiper and Jeremiah put out mocks today. They have Terry and Arnold both coming here at 17. That would be an outstanding selection. So, I also think if they wanted to move back a little bit, they could still address corner if they like the top guys, if they feel like, there's not a big gap between 1 and 6, then they could even move back, which, I think would make a lot of sense. We haven't really seen the Jags do that much. But I think you could look at a team like Pittsburgh. Do you move down 3 spots with the Steelers, maybe pick up their 2 fourths, 120 and 121? That would give you 7 picks in the first 121 selections. Maybe you move down 10 spots with Arizona. You could pick up maybe their high third at 66. So something like that, I think, also makes sense based on what we're seeing with these mocks and who's available. So, I don't know that they'll get the offer. I'm sure they would be motivated to trade down, but obviously you need somebody that wants to come up and give something up to do it. So, that can be difficult. So, I think, though, if they stay at 17, I think they're looking at a fantastic corner prospect that immediately becomes a starter outside of Tyson Campbell on the other side of Tyson.
Hayes, it sounds like you have corner circled there at 17, which, fair enough. I don't think that's unreasonable. If that is the direction they go, when will the Jaguars select an offensive lineman for the first time in this year's draft, and what position along the line do you think he'd be drafted at?
I think because of their confidence in Cam Robinson and Brandon Sheriff, 2 players that I frankly didn't expect to be on the team, I think that it's probably not as big a need now. I mean, they obviously feel good about Ezra Cleveland at left guard. He's a younger player. They feel like they're going to get 1 more year out of Sheriff. Maybe, who knows, maybe they think they're going to get 3 more years, but at least they're committed to 1 more year with Brandon Sheriff. Obviously, you love Anton Harrison. So I think in looking at it, I don't know that now it cries out for a premium pick. I'm sure they will draft one, but, assuming some player isn't there that just is by far the best value, I mean, I could see it easily being maybe their 4th round selection, something like that, maybe the comp 3rd. But I'd be surprised if it's 17 or 48.
What if the right guy was there and they just didn't expect him to be, and they love one like a tackle prospect there? Do you think there's any chance that they draft a guy there with the idea of either playing him left or right, or maybe moving Anton to the left if he plays right, and moving on from Cam and using that salary cap space to, try to aggressively get something done with either Josh Allen or even Trevor Lawrence or Tyson Campbell later on this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think moving on from Cam Robinson would have been smart. I would have done it so it could have, helped me in free agency.
Right.
Because obviously it's such a substantial $16.5 million in savings. So I don't think they'll do it now because their window where it would have really benefited them, they elected not to do it. But if an offensive lineman is there at 17 that they feel like is a special player, that's always a good decision. And particularly after Trevor Lawrence got beat up as badly as he did this year. So I'd have no problem if they take, Fuaga or whoever it is that falls to 17, somebody that, may have a minimal role as a rookie, may not. I mean, obviously a lot of these guys along the line have had trouble staying healthy. So, you have that. But certainly, as you look towards the future, you don't really know how long you're going to have Cam Robinson and Brandon Sheriff here. Walker Little's on the final year of his rookie deal. Luke Fortner seems to be a miss, even though you have him for 2 more years. So, yeah, I mean, it certainly it would be totally fine with me. I think it'd be a wise decision, if the right guy, if a guy is there that you're just stunned is there and you feel like is, absolutely the best value pick, can never go wrong taking an offensive lineman.
Hayes, with corner and wide receiver and offensive line and to some degree defensive line edge as positions that everyone expects if the Jags went with any of those at 17, it wouldn't even raise an eyebrow, right? But has there been any player that you've seen attached to the Jaguars at 17 throughout this process to this point that you just don't particularly like the fit?
I don't really like the Brian Thomas fit. I mean, if it happens, I'll understand it. But receiver is so deep. I think they absolutely could do some good things at 48 at receiver, whether it's Tez Walker or Corley out of Western Kentucky or maybe Roman Wilson. Keon Coleman might be there. I don't think he should be, but when there's some poor testing, players can take more of a drop than I think they should. So, for me, receiver at 17, I don't love. But again, part of that is I'd probably higher on Gabe Davis than, I don't think he's going to be some superstar, but I think he's going to be a really quality player. And so I think you've got really quality players in Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Zay Jones. You've got some young players that, maybe can develop for you. So, that's the one for me that, wouldn't be like thrilled about. I mean, I think they need to take a receiver, but it's just so deep that I think there's going to be a guy at 48 that's just home run selection. So I'd be a little patient at receiver, but if they elect to go after a player like Thomas, obviously he's got significant traits and, they do need to. I'm not questioning the need to add a young player there. They absolutely need to do that, and they need to do it with some nice draft capital. I just would wait more towards the second round because I think the position is loaded.
All right, Hayes Carline, you won't have to wait too long till you hear more of his thoughts coming up later on this afternoon on the Frangie Show as Hayes and Frank and Lauren hold court weekdays here on 1010 XL. And check out Hayes on social media at his name, Hayes Carline, Carlyon. All the best, Hayes. We appreciate you hopping on. It was a busy week, and before you know it, we'll be looking at that NFL draft staring us right down Main Street. So we appreciate the time as always, buddy.
Absolutely. Always enjoy it. Thank you guys so much.
All right, there he goes, the hammer, Hayes Carline. I will say, look, I tend to agree with Hayes. Like, if you want to get an offensive lineman, even if he doesn't impact you much this year, sometimes you do need to look ahead. Mm-hmm. The difference between that and last year, Tone, when they go tight end, running back, and everyone's like, Balky acted like, we're good. We don't need anything. We're just going to pick up things for the future. Those aren't premium positions.
Right.
If you got a chance to get a tackle, sometimes you got to take them when you can take them, or a corner, or whatever. The wide receivers becoming that more in the National Football League. Tight end and running back, not nearly as much. And when you draft guys for future productivity down the line, you don't get much of anything, and they're not at those premium spots, I think that it makes it that much worse.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, if you get the right offensive lineman here, even if he's not a full-time starter in year one, and he steps into a starting role in year two, and you've got that position taken care of, I'm not upset with that. We'll get back to our countdown of our top 5 targets we'd like to see the Jags focus in on at number 17 when we get into our number 2. Thanks again to Hayes Carline. If you want to be a part of it, 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today Tuesday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios,
where Jaguars fans find common ground.
Duval till we die.
1010XL.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. You've heard me talking about Pella Windows and Doors, and with great ratings and expert reviews, you know they're high quality and energy efficient products. So what's your next step? How about scheduling a free consultation or just stop by the Pella showroom right there on Phillips Highway next to Tesla? Pella's professional consultants will guide you through your entire project from start to finish. From simple projects to complex renovations, their team has the experience needed to make your project a success. And that's the quality and service you can expect from Pella Windows and Doors.
Hacker here, and you know something's starting to get really fun and kind of ridiculous, but in the best way possible. I'm talking about my weekly Awaken 180 weigh-in. This week, I was down another 5 pounds. That's right, 30 pounds lighter in just 3 weeks. Now, if that's not ridiculous, I don't know what is. It's something I could have never imagined happening, especially so quickly. I mean, those weight loss injections, they would have taken me a year to achieve what Awaken 180 has done in just 3 weeks. I can see the difference, I feel it, and yeah, people are beginning to notice too. Whether it's viewers on the Twitter broadcasts, friends, co-workers, the change is unmistakable. Got questions? Shoot me a tweet. Or, if you've been following along with Mike, Matt, and myself, make the call to Awaken 180. The results, they speak for themselves. Folks, they're real, and they're absolutely life-changing. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800. Or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Whether you're in need of a simple AC repair or it's time to upgrade your HVAC system, Duck Duck Air Conditioning is here to help. Give us a call today to schedule an estimate, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good people drink good beer, and great people drink Mocama, a refined craft brewery out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mocama Beer Company brings sophisticated flagship beers, including Cosmico IPA and Dune Garden Lager, to the greater Jacksonville area. Whether you're hitting the water with friends or enjoying a backyard barbecue, Mocama has the perfect pair for your summer activities. Look for us wherever great beers are sold and find your Mocama.
What is the only team in the NFL to neither host nor play in the Super Bowl? The answer coming up.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, go to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The only team in the NFL that hasn't hosted or played in the Super Bowl? The Cleveland Browns.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period.
Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, this is Carrie, the office coordinator at the dental practice of Dr. James J. McCall. Dr. McCall, along with me and my fellow team members, are committed to making your visit to the dentist a pleasant one. From scheduling, filing insurance, or reviewing treatment options, you're always our number one priority. When we say join our dental family, we believe it in our hearts. If you are looking for a dentist in a warm and relaxed atmosphere, call the dental office of Dr. McCall at 620-9225.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by Wingstop. Jaguars' newly acquired defensive tackle Eric Armstead recorded 27 total tackles and 5 sacks last season with the 49ers. Armstead adds to an already impressive D-line, including Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, who combined for a total of 27 sacks last season. Armstead recently spoke on how he hopes to have an impact with the Jags this upcoming season.
The Jags were a good team before me, and, whenever I enter a situation, not just football, but in life in general, when I'm meeting people, when I'm, entering a situation, working with people, I want to make the place better than when I found it. I want to make a positive impact. And I think this team was already a phenomenal team, and I think I can help get them to the next level. So having an opportunity is something I look forward to as well.
It's 52 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I think corner is it just screams out that it needs a starter. And again, so I think at 17, the good news is there'll be multiple corners there. They'll probably have, the second guy off the board, is probably where they'll be standing. Maybe you're looking at the third corner.
Corner is definitely a big need. There's no question about it. Still have Brian Thomas at the top of my wish list.
I was about to say, would not be at the top of Hayes' list, and that's okay.
And that's fine, and doesn't have to be at the top of yours. Send us your top 5 wish list of players that you realistically think have a decent chance. They don't have to be like mortal locks to be available at 17. Most of the guys, I would say, my list of 10 names that are on my 5-name list, maybe 7 of them will be gone. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But I think certainly, like, if I put together my top 5, I think there's a decent chance at least one of them will make it there, right? And that's the thing. You don't know what other teams ahead of you are going to do. Looking today at a couple of mock drafts out there from some of the biggest names in the industry, Mel Kiper over at ESPN, Tony, now has 5 quarterbacks in the top 16 picks.
Pump them all in there,
Let's
buddy.
go. What, no room for Bo Nix? I think he had Penix in there. He has Caleb Williams going number 1. Jane Daniels, number 2, and Drake May, number 3, like most people do. Marvin Harrison going 4. Malik Neighbors now going to the Chargers. Malik Neighbors gets to come in with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both being jettisoned in recent days by the LA Chargers. And then Roma Dunze. So it goes quarterback, wide receiver in this mock. Doesn't mean it's going to go that way, but I expect all those 6 guys to be easily off the board by the time the Jags pick.
We were discussing our top 5 before the show today, and I told you that I had the list of guys that would have to be gone before Brock Bowers became the guy, right, for me. And if you look at the list of names, it's 13 names without the quarterbacks included in it, right? So the odds that Brock Bowers is going to be the guy that I'm like, that's the direction they have to go, it's just super low. And I know you said it'd be even more than that for you.
Yeah, it would.
You know,
right.
So
because there's so many quarterbacks that really shrink this list. You don't need 16 position players to go here.
No, you don't. Like in my list is 13 without the quarterbacks included in the list.
Right. So, and there's at least 3 quarterbacks going.
Right.
And that's the bare minimum. And I think 4 is 99% likelihood and 5 is probably a coin flip.
Certainly in the conversation.
So here we go with Kiper. He goes Joe Alt, the Notre Dame offensive tackle to the Titans. Dallas Turner, the pass rusher at Alabama, going to Atlanta. And then Jared Verse out of Florida State going to the Bears.
Yep.
None of these are crazy. Brock Bowers going 10. You see Bowers here, you see him in the mid-20s, right? You just don't know with a guy like that. J.J. McCarthy going to the Vikings. Obviously, they could be trading up to try to target him. Bo Nix actually is the one he's got going to the Denver Broncos. I thought he had Penix in there for some reason, but he has Bo Nix at 12. J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle out of Bama. No corners at this point at all in the draft. Olu Fashanu, the Penn State offensive tackle, going 14. Then Quinion Mitchell to the Colts. And again, I don't want the Colts to get L'Jarius Sneed. I also don't want them to take a guy that the Jags may have their eyes on. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to answer that question somehow. And they've been apparently trying to get a high-caliber player to come in there. L'Jarius Sneed apparently wants to be the highest-paid cornerback in the National Football League. Troy Fatano, call him a guard tackle out of Washington, going 16 there, and has the Jags taking Terry and Arnold. Tali Fwanga, the offensive tackle out of Oregon State, who can also play inside. Byron Murphy. These are Brian Thomas, who we've talked about this morning. All these guys we've talked about as strong possibilities for the Jags.
No doubt.
At that spot. So that's what Kiper sees the board looking like at that point. Why don't we pick up with our countdown with the number 3 player on our wish list?
Number 3.
All right, Pockets, you had Quinion Mitchell at 1, right?
Yep.
You had Cooper DeJean at 2.
That's correct.
Who you got at 3?
Number 3, I'm going to stay on topic. What we've been talking about is Brian Thomas, the LSU receiver. This is kind of a hard one for me because I think Odunze, Marvin Harrison, and Malik Neighbors are all going to be gone before that 17 pick. So then you look at the wide receivers, and it's a need that the Jacksonville has. The problem with the receiver market after those 3, I mean, you look at, for example, like we said here, the LSU receiver just said, Brian Thomas.
Neighbors? Oh,
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas.
He had a huge year.
Yeah.
His previous 2 years, he had 360 yards from both years and 5 touchdowns and 2 touchdowns. So you look at another receiver, go to Texas, Mitchell. How you say his first name?
Adonai.
Adonai had a big year last year. His first 2 years, 134 yards and 426 yards.
Yeah.
So you're betting on what you saw from 1 year of film. So it's kind of hard to say that you know that this guy is going to be good and taking that chance at a wide receiver, but all these guys are like that after those first 3.
Right. At least in the case of those guys, Tone, with Thomas and Mitchell, they did it against mostly SEC competition, right? And somebody in the YouTube chat said, I don't want Thomas. He's got a limited route tree, no experience being a number 1. Give me Mitchell. You realize Mitchell was the number 2 at Texas, right?
Yeah.
Behind Xavier Worthy. So he has no experience being the 1 either.
Yeah.
And it's fine. You can have your preferences, but if that's your critique, that you don't want that guy because Malik Neighbors was really the 1. By the way, was Justin Jefferson the 1 at LSU? Because I'm pretty sure he wasn't.
He was not. Jamar Chase was the dude.
Right. Did they both turn out to be pretty damn spectacular?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, being the 2 at LSU, if the right guy's the 1, may not be the worst thing in the world. Who you got at number 3, Tone?
I got Troy Fatanu. The offensive tackle out of Washington. His athletic profile is exactly what would seem to fit what Doug Peterson would be looking for in a tackle prospect. Plus grades as a pass protector, athletic enough to be used to pull often at Washington. Of the offensive tackle group in this draft, I think among the names that could be available to him there, that's the top guy on my list.
I think he's likely. It's interesting because in Kiper's mock, he actually had Fwanga available, who you see in most mocks go ahead of Fatano or Fatanu. Is it Fatanu?
Fautanu, something like that. Yeah.
I'm going with Fautanu, but whatever.
See if I can find a pronunciation.
Regardless, I went. That's my 3 line. Is that combination of guys, and what it represents is the tackle who's got the versatility that, hey, maybe he competes with Brandon Scherf and we get value out of him right now, right? Like there's a pure offensive tackle group, and I'm more interested in these 2 guys here who have the versatility to either play tackle or maybe play inside and maybe play left or right tackle. But the idea of Anton Harrison as your long-term left tackle and either one of these guys as your right tackle is pretty damn appealing to me. And bring them in. You know, let's have the gladiatorial combat. Let's let the best 5 emerge and play these guys. And this is a premium. I think the group has to be looked at as a premium group. Protecting Trevor Lawrence, so important. This is not like drafting a backup safety or, a backup tight end or a backup running back in rounds 2 or 3. Even if you don't get a full-time starter in year 1, to me, the position and the position group is valuable enough that if you've got a chance to take what you think will end up being a difference maker there, that's okay.
For what it's worth, a Washington pronunciation guide here has it as Fautanu.
Fautanu.
Yeah. They've got the H in there on the
They're going hard on
second.
that U, that first U in there.
Fautanu.
Fautanu.
Yeah.
Troy Fautanu.
I don't know why they have the H in there. Is that an O or
what
an
H?
U?
There's no H in there.
There's an F-A-H, like the pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they got fa. So they got
the
you express the fa there at the beginning, and then the second consonant in there is O-O-H.
Well, I don't know if the second consonant is the second syllable.
Yeah. Like there's fa-oo. Is that oo or O?
That'd be oo,
yeah,
I think.
I think it's oo because of the extra oo, O.
Fautanu.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big Troy. Big Troy coming down the line, pancaking people out there. Either way, look, my official top 5, because I've already gone 6 deep, right?
Yeah.
Like I put DeJean in the group. I don't feel strongly about him as Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold,
sure.
Right? But I wanted that line to represent big-bodied corner, instant starter, elevate the room kind of guy. So really my top 5 would be, even though the countdown will continue, Brian Thomas at 1, Quinion Mitchell at 2, 2B is Terrion Arnold, right? So those are my top 3. 4 and 5 would be Fwanga and Fautanu. Those 2 guys. So that's my 5 right there. Those 2 linemen, those 2 corners, and Brian Thomas. But the way I like to do these top 5s is kind of represent what I'm looking for as much as the specific player. But those are my official top 5. We'll continue the countdown. Come back on the other side. Let's look at what Daniel Jeremiah has to say. Mock draft version 3.0 out for the head draftnik over at NFL.com. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. If you want to be a part of the conversation, hit us up at 641-1010 on the All Pro Roofing phone lines, or just give us your top 5 for pick 17 as it stands now. Your wish list for the Jags that you think realistically have a chance to be there. I think both of those linemen could be off the board, Tony. I think there's, I would say, the chance of one of them being there, maybe 35 to 40% on one of those guys being there. And maybe it's Fautanu who's the more likely of the 2, but I think between the 2 of them, about a 1 in 3 chance that one of them will be sitting there because other teams may value those pure offensive tackles a little bit higher. We'll continue the countdown in a moment. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL Jaguars Today Tuesday is brought to you by Dream Finders Homes. Homes built to fit your lifestyle.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
I just want you to meet some people and find out whatever you can about them. What type of people? Dangerous, dirty, tattooed, uncivilized. Your kind of people.
1010XL.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament.
Do they really give you a free pint of Miller Lite for each game you pick right?
Yes. All you got to do is fill out your bracket at 1010XL.com. The overall winner gets tickets to the Luke Combs concert and wings at the show. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it to any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the free beer Mr. Chubby's Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are mosquitoes turning your outdoor fun into a full contact sport? Time to call in Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, they are the MVPs of mosquito elimination. See for yourself. Call Kingfish Pest Control today and get an unbeatable 50% off your first treatment. That's right, sign up for a full season of lockdown coverage and get 50% off your first treatment. Don't let mosquitoes steal your home field advantage. Reclaim your yard with Kingfish Pest Control.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
Cooking with Prisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rollie.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all. Selling or pawning, get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
The 2024 NFL season is approaching fast, and the Jaguars are celebrating their 30th season. Be at the bank for all the big plays and big moments of this milestone year by locking in your season tickets now. With packages for every budget and exclusive perks throughout the season, there's no better time to become a season ticket member. Be at the bank for every touchdown and secure your seats by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 today. We'll see you at the bank.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents
Are You Cool?
Today's lucky contestant, a cheese negotiator from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Margaret Drent.
How do you like my costume, Bob? I'm Gruyere.
Well, you smell great, Margaret. But here's your question. What's wrong with your air conditioner when you hear this sound?
Oh, that's a toughie. Are you sure you don't want me to tell you the suggested retail price of a box of Rice-A-Roni?
5 seconds, Margaret.
Is it a compressor motor starter failure?
That's right, Margaret. And if you call the coolness experts at Bueller Air Conditioning, we can fix that faulty AC to make sure that you are cool.
It's surprisingly stuffy inside a giant cheese.
You signed the waiver, Margaret.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is teaming up with the NFL to inspire change. From now to draft day, Big Brothers Big Sisters is following the NFL draft, aiming to recruit potential bigs. Hi, I'm Brent from the 1010 sales team. I'm committed as a mentor, and we need you to step up and become a mentor too. There's a waiting list of more than 50 children hoping for a mentor. It's just a few hours a month. Be a mentor. Become a big. Visit bbsnefl.org. Be a mentor or visit Big Brothers Big Sisters and click on Big Draft.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
All right, 1010XL, Jaguars Today, going until noon as we do every weekday here. The draft really going to start to come into stronger focus. Travis Gibson, though, Tony, we should talk about him a little bit. Guy's got a little bit of connection to the Jaguars coaching staff, but, there's a player who's got some pass rush level of accomplishment, let's call it that. And not like this guy's been spectacular, but he did have a 7-sack season in 2021.
Yeah.
Can he come in and be let's call it the Arden Key, the 2024 version of that third down pass rusher, give you somewhere between 5 and 8 sacks potentially coming off the bench?
Probably not.
It's the hope, though, isn't it?
Like, I think certainly he makes sense as a depth guy on a roster. But I don't think he's at the same kind of level as an Arden Key, necessarily coming in here, who even, the 2 years before he got to Jacksonville here in his career was like he seems to be putting something together.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, I thought that Gibson was that kind of guy. And that's not to say that I don't like the signing. I do like the signing. It makes sense to me to bring him in here. It's going to be cheap. He is going to be a bench option for you at that spot. I think he's every bit as good or better than Kayvon Chaisson. I'll give him that, right? Like, I do think they improved the spot by bringing in Gibson, but I don't expect him to be even the guy they rely on necessarily to be the third guy off the bench for him.
Here, Arden Key, his first 3 years really didn't do anything, right? And then in 2021 had 6.5 sacks. Now, all that was off the bench.
Yeah.
And then he only had 4.5 in his 1 year here in Jacksonville. He did give some good pressure and end up having 6 when he started 9 games this season in Tennessee, right? I think it's a little bit similar, although Gibson started 9 games back in 2021. He had the 7 sacks, fell off to 3 in 2022, and then injury-plagued season for him last year and only had 1 sack. I think as much as anything, it's kind of a placeholder that, okay, if we don't have an edge guy fall to us, we don't have to reach for a guy.
Sure.
We've got a little bit of depth. Is he worse than Kayvon Chaisson? I would say no.
I agree.
He's done a lot more in terms of pass rush than Kayvon Chaisson has ever done in his career. So from that standpoint, probably a slight upgrade over what you had, but not one that's going to move the needle a whole lot.
No.
Here in Jacksonville.
It makes sense as a guy. You sign that kind of guy, kind of second wave of free agency. Okay.
Sure.
You're filling out the back end of your depth chart. Okay. It makes some sense. Why couldn't he, he played 8 games last year in Tennessee. He played 15% of their defensive snaps. After coming off the season you just talked about 2 years ago, where he was a productive pass rusher.
Right.
2 years ago, why couldn't he get on the field there in Tennessee? Now, I know Tennessee's one of the few places they had any depth was they had guys that could get after the passer, right? Like their defensive front was pretty good there in Tennessee, but only got on the field for 15% of their snaps. What happened? That he didn't earn more opportunities there with the Titans, but I still think he's a good, solid pro, back end of the depth chart guy, good signing. All of it makes a lot of sense to me, but like you said, I don't think it stops you from doing anything else you want to do at the position.
No, but at the same time, I think it keeps you from having a panic.
Don't have to do anything.
It's much like the Ronald Darby thing. You know what? If the right corner is there at 17, we may be interested. But at the same time, if we have to wait until the second round to get corner or even the third round and address corner, depending on how it falls, we may love an offensive lineman. We may love a receiver. We may love a pass rusher. You can only get one guy with each pick, unless you're able to maneuver around with trades.
Yeah. And look, Kayvon's out the door. They haven't re-signed Smoot. Like, there are holes on the roster that need to be filled with some guys here over the next few weeks before you get to the draft, and we'll see what they want to do to address any of these positions there. But Gibson makes sense as a signing, at one of those spots as a depth piece, but I don't see him as much more than that.
All right. Shuey, Bill Shuey was there, right, with the Chicago Bears, coaching outside linebackers. So, and he's the Jags outside linebackers coach. So,
maybe he refines it here.
Well, maybe he does. And I do like, it's not like Bill Shuey is going knocking on Trent Baalke's door. Hey, we need to sign this guy. But I got to believe in every front office around the league when you're thinking about signing the guy, and you've got a guy on your staff who's coached that position, him directly. Obviously, how do you think the fit is with what we're trying to accomplish here with Ryan Nielsen's defense? So from that standpoint, seems like a logical move as well. Daniel Jeremiah putting out mock draft 3.0. Before we get to the next one in our countdown, let's just run through this quickly. Quarterbacks at the top 1, 2, 3, just in a different order from Kuiper. He's got May at 2. He's got Daniels at 3. But here's the thing. He's got McCarthy at 4 with Minnesota trading up. He is projecting trades. I don't think Mel's doing that in his. The Jets trading up to 5 to get Marvin Harrison Jr. to go in there and pair with Garrett Wilson, a couple of Ohio State receivers, to have targets for Aaron Rodgers. They need a second guy.
They do.
I mean, Alan Lazard is arguably their second-best guy on the roster right now, and he was a shell of his former self last year. Their problem is they gave him all this money. He's got $10 million guaranteed coming this year. Malik Neighbors at 6. Joe Alt, Dallas Turner, Roma Dunze. Used to seeing all these guys. Tali Fwanga, Kuiper had him on the board at 17. He's off the board at 10 here, right? Jared Verse going at 11. Brock Bowers going at 12. Michael Penix, that was the one I looked at. I knew somebody had Penix. So there's both of these prognosticators, Kuiper and Jeremiah, have 5 quarterbacks in the top 16 picks.
Get them all
Bring
in there.
it on. Get
Why not
6.
6?
Why not 6, right? Who says no?
I mean, what are you waiting for?
Olu Fashanu, the Penn State tackle. Quinion Mitchell going to the Colts. Troy Fautanu. Is that Fautanu? That's what we settled on. Yeah. And he goes with the Jags taking Terrion Arnold, the Alabama corner, much like Kuiper did. All right, let's jump back in with number 4 on our countdown of our top 5 wish list for the 17th pick.
Number 4.
I'll go with Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. I have not gotten over my fascination with his athletic profile for whatever that's worth, and he has been at the top of mind for me among the corners in this draft throughout the process because of it. Again, he's not going to have an on-field workout for NFL teams for another couple of weeks. We'll see where he's at in that recovery from the injury, but I expect the day he gets the workout, everyone's going to be going, did you see what he did? Did you see what he did? Because he is that kind of freaky athlete, and at his size, I just can't get over my fascination with the guy. He's at least still solidly there in my top 5.
All right, so he's number 4 for you. Yep. Pockets, who you got?
I will go D-line. I'll go Byron Murphy. I almost wanted to go Jared Verse, but I feel like he'll definitely be gone before 17. Okay. Byron Murphy, interior defensive lineman, will fit well in this defense if he's able to be there.
They got a lot of money tied up in defensive tackle. I mean, a lot of money tied up in defensive tackle. To me, I get why people would still say, hey, premium position, get him, lock him in. Devon Hamilton didn't play great last year. I think at some point you have to bank on guys bouncing back, right? You signed Hamilton for a reason. You thought he was going to be X. He gets hurt. He can't live up to that. I don't know if you just write off that potential you saw in him, or otherwise, why were you signing him to a $10 million plus deal, right?
What does that contract look like if they wanted to get out of it?
In terms of getting out, maybe after this year. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying right now you got so much locked in there. Anyway, I think a lot of people would agree with you with Byron Murphy. I'm not one of them. For me, on this line, I already told you, I've already hit the top 5 guys on my list. And my last pair was the offensive lineman had the versatility to play inside. This group is the pick your poison. I don't know how Balky would rate them group of guys who are purely offensive tackles. All right, headlined by Olu Fashanu, J.C. Latham, Amarius Mims, that level of guy, because I do think it's less likely you're going to get an impact out of him as a rookie unless you move on from Cam Robinson, during the draft, immediately after the draft. So, again, my 5 has been locked in with Brian Thomas, Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, and Fwanga, and Fautanu. I will throw, for purposes of grouping them together, the guys who are the pure offensive tackles, as opposed to the guys likely to be able to play inside for me, at least for the first year. All right, we'll come back with our number 5 on the countdown and wrap things up for the day as well. If you want to get in, you're certainly welcome to. We'll look at some of your submissions here on social media when we return in a minute. Who are some of the players you've got your eyes on for the 17th pick as things stand today? We understand conditions can change drastically between now in the NFL draft. 6 quarterbacks in the top 16. We're all about that. 5? Oh, does it feel like there's a groundswell for at least 5 now, Tone? 5?
It does.
That would be fantastic. Are you kidding me? You basically have the 11th pick in the draft, if that's the case, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. Keep it right here. One segment to go on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Wake up, change your life. You've probably been on crash diets before. If you've gotten fat like I have, it's a damn shame, right? But sometimes you just got to say enough is enough and try to drop that weight. I've had success dropping weight in the past, but I've never done it the right way, in a way that you can maintain it and have consistency beyond the initial weight loss. Well, I lost my weight with Awaken 180 way back in September, and I've been able to keep it off because that is the major benefit of this program. Not just losing 4 to 5 pounds a week on average, but keeping it off. They've got a proven, time-tested system that can help you learn how to eat better, what to eat, when to eat, turn your body into a fat-burning machine. And honestly, it's kind of fun to see the results, and the results right now are just keeping that weight right where it's been for a long, long time. 844-346-1800 will get you started. 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Don't just lose it. Keep it off online at awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, Jaguars Today Tuesday.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios. Brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Believe in the unbelievable. Unbelievable! 1010XL. I can't believe it! I can't believe it! We're hearing is believing. Unbelievable!
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Take charge of your well-being at Ackerman Cancer Center. Their new location at the World Golf Village off I-95 now provides screenings for prostate, bladder, and colorectal cancers. The leaders in proton therapy, that's AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Mia here with a shout out to all property owners looking to spruce up your spaces for the spring. Window Gang's exterior cleaning services will remove stubborn stains, restore windows to a crystal clear shine, and ensure your gutters flow freely. Whether you own a home or business, Window Gang will transform your outdoor space. Call 262-7300 for a free estimate. Don't wait. Let Window Gang bring the sparkle back to your property today. That's 262-7300.
Watch the madness live Friday with XL Primetime from Top Dog Tavern in Bartram Park. Then the fun continues with the Frangie Show live from String Sports Brewery on North Main Street. It's hoops, food, and fun Friday during the first round.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loans. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make that happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com at 904-999-1508. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2024 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Dave Binion here with my son Ammon, who is the air duct cleaning manager at Zero Res. So Ammon, you may notice a little rattle in my voice and some puffiness in my eyes. That's because allergy season is coming on. Can Zero Res help?
Yes, your health has a lot to do with the air you breathe. A clean and healthy home begins with clean air. At Zero Res, we can help clean the air in your home by cleaning your air ducts, cleaning the coils in your HVAC units, and fogging the system with a powerful antimicrobial that helps kill and control the growth of microorganisms in your air. We also have options for maintaining your clean air with our excellent inline air purifier and UV lights that will help keep your system clean and healthy. At Zero Res, we are more than just air duct cleaners. We're a clean air specialist.
Have Zero Res air duct specialists out, and right now we'll give you $50 off your air duct cleaning, and while we're at it, we'll give you $50 off your dryer vent cleaning. Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, one comment here. We're talking about the money the Jags have invested in defensive tackle right now. And one comment on the YouTube chat said that's why it's good to get a rookie defensive tackle. They're cheap and could push big contracts out a year early. I'd have to look at Roy Robertson's, but you're not pushing Devon Hamilton out early. It's going to cost you more to get rid of him for the next couple of years than it is to keep him. So, you know, Devon Hamilton counts $5.6 million this year. It would cost $17 million if you dead money. He's obviously on the team.
Yeah.
Next year he'll count 10.8, but it would cost you an extra 1.2 to not have him. Why take up more cap space to create a hole, right? I mean, it's better to have him and still have more cap space. And then the following year, he's still only going to be 29 years old. He'll count 11.9 against the cap. You could save 3.5 if you move on. But that's after 2 more full seasons. And you're paying Armstead a bunch. I'd have to see what the way Roy Robertson Harris's deal is structured, Tony. But they just redid that last year as well. So unless you have that right in front of you, I'll have that.
I don't. Yeah.
Up
They
in a
added a
sec.
couple dead years to his, too. Like,
Yeah. Just see. I mean, look, sometimes it works that way. Let me see here. What we got? 2024, no. Upside down on the hit. Next year, you'd save $1 million by moving on from him. Again, this is set up that basically it looks like you've got your 3 defensive tackle rotation for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And again, to me, that's not a great use of resources if you're going to go that way with a first-round pick on that position after you just paid 3 years, $51 million to Eric Armstead to be your guy. And you've got depth at the position as well. You brought back guys that have been in the system, guys that you like. Anyway, that won't be the case with everybody. We'll look at some of your top fives here in a second. Pockets, why don't we fire up that 10-10 take?
10-10.
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
All right, we'll use it to wrap up our countdown, our top 5 wish list for the 17th pick in the draft at this moment. And they're players that we think at least have a decent chance of being available with that pick. I think Pockets, it may be your turn. I want you recap for us your 1 through 4 and give us your 5th.
Number 1, I had Quinion Mitchell at DB from Toledo. Number 2 is Cooper DeJean, the DB from Iowa. Number 3, the LSU receiver Brian Thomas. Number 4 was the interior D lineman Brian Murphy. And number 5, this is a pipe dream. I'm going to go with Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia.
This is a pipe dream. Why?
Because he'll go before us, and I don't think they'll even consider it just because that we drafted Brenton Strange in the second round last year. Brock Bowers is a dude where I think wherever he goes, regardless of the team, good or bad offense, good or bad coach, quarterback, he's going to do well. I mean, the athleticism this dude has is unbelievable. I mean, he came as a freshman the year they won the national title, and he was one of their best players on that team that had however many draft picks, like 15, 16 of them. There was a game they had against Kent State. He took a jet sweep and took it 78 yards. That's not even a play that's not even in your playbook that you want to run in a meaningful game. And let's just do this first play of the game, get it out of the way. And he took it to the crib. So that's just a guy that if he falls to your lap, wherever it is in the draft, after that really 10-12 range, it's hard to pass on him.
I've been looking to get more tight end jet sweep in the offense. That's a good solid. You're not going to be alone in that one, Pockets. No. Let me give you my 5, Tony. My 5 officially: Brian Thomas, Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Tali Fwanga, Troy Fautanu. Fautanu. I'm trying to do it right, Troy. Big Troy. I threw Cooper DeJean in the big corner list. I had a list of pure offensive tackles. So really, you could look at my list one of 2 ways. Those 5 names I just gave you, or wide receiver, specifically Thomas, big corner, versatile offensive lineman, must-play tackle offensive lineman, and my number 5 guy or 5 position, however you want to look at it, is Jared Verse, just because of the value of pass rush. And, again, he's like Bowers. I see him projected right inside the top 10.
Yeah.
I also see him falling to 20, 21, 22 at time. I don't know where he's going to go, man. I would suspect he's going to go in the top 16 picks because pass rush is such a thing that everyone's always looking for. But I thought he had a great combine for a guy who's more of a power player. He put up some pretty explosive numbers. I don't think Dallas Turner has a prayer of being there. And Chop Robinson doesn't have the productivity, to me, that I'd be looking for with the 17th pick in the draft. I feel like Chop Robinson would be another Caleb Chase on, a guy that we're looking at an athletic profile and saying, oh, yeah, now he's going to emerge. Now that he's going against the best of the best.
Well, and Chop is one of those guys, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. There are numbers that your GM is looking for in players when he's drafting them. Chop doesn't hit any of them.
In terms of arm length,
right.
things like
that.
Like
any of the size stuff that Trent usually looks for, Chop Robinson doesn't hit any of them. That doesn't mean he can't be on your list if you feel that way about him. Cool. But he would be one of those guys you're putting on the list, and I would hope you're putting it there with no expectation that they're going to draft him. I was talking about this before the show today, too. We went through the 17 draft process where you said Deshaun Watson, I said I would have taken Patrick Mahomes. There's no point in driving this along any more than we have. That we mentioned we would go with these guys if it was up to us to make the pick. They're taking who they're taking. It's going to be Fournette. They're not taking a quarterback, right? Like, we knew it. There was no point in saying over and over and over again, and that's kind of the Chop thing to me this year. I love him. It doesn't matter. They're not doing it, right? It doesn't matter.
I don't love him. That's
right.
the difference.
But for the fans out there who do, it doesn't matter how many times you mention it. They have shown you that's not the kind of guy they're going to take in that kind of spot. We knew it in 17. Dave Caldwell isn't taking a quarterback with Blake Bortles still on his rookie contract. He's not doing it. It doesn't matter how much we wanted to see them do it. He's not doing it. We said it again in 18. Lamar Jackson, cool. Pull the trigger. If he's there at the end of the round, why wouldn't you do it? We knew they wouldn't because of the GM and his connection with the quarterback at that point in time. Sometimes those connections make sense out of trying to figure out what the process is going to look like for guys. And Chop, that's one of those guys. He doesn't hit any of the measurables you need for Trent Baalke to feel comfortable taking him in the first round of a draft.
So who's your 5?
My 5, starting with number 1, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. Quinyon Mitchell, 2, the corner out of Toledo. Troy Fautanu, number 3, the offensive tackle out of Washington. Cooper DeJean, 4, the corner from Iowa. And for me, number 5, Laitu Latu, edge out of UCLA. The medical hurdles seem to be being jumped to this point in the process for him. If he's still there at 17, given some of the other options that could be off the board, I'd be totally up for it. He does seem, of the guys that I have on this list, the most boomer bust kind of prospect I have on the list, but the boom is boom. Like the comparisons that you see with him are like, he reminds me of TJ Watt, right? Like those are the kind of things that people say about him, the most ready to go pass rusher in this year's draft. Latu, from a technician standpoint.
What do you have, neck injury?
He had a neck injury.
A couple years ago, they say supposedly beyond that, right? Because initially they told him, don't play football again.
Don't play football again. So he said, fine, I'll play rugby. So he played rugby for a year, and then he started playing football again, and he's now being talked about as a potential first-round pick.
By the way, for us, both having Brian Thomas at the top, both Kuiper and Jeremiah have him going later than the 16th pick.
Okay.
Right now. And that could be, look, we saw a case where, there are not a lot of receivers out there in free agency, right? But not everyone was clamoring for Calvin Ridley, right? Jags got on Gabe Davis quickly, and it didn't seem like there was much resistance, right? Curtis Samuel, I didn't hear many connections with him before he signed with Buffalo, right? So it didn't look like teams were tripping over themselves to spend the big money because of the depth at wide receiver. Well, that depth may also make him go, you know what? I'm going to get the big ugly here, and I'll get that receiver in the second round, which could do one of two things. Maybe the Jags follow suit and say, hey, there are only so many offensive linemen that you love enough to take 17th overall, or cornerback being a premium position. Nobody's going to fault them if they get a guy that they think is a walk-in-the-door starter at corner day one. Or it could push a guy like Brian Thomas. Maybe they haven't rated as the 12th guy on their board.
Maybe.
And he falls there to 17. Who was it? Chris Sims? Now, I know Chris Sims has a checkered history, let's say, with some of his rankings at times. Did he have Zach Wilson ahead of Trevor at one point ever? Was he one of those guys?
Might have been.
I kind of feel like he might have been, but I could be wrong about that. He's got Malik Neighbors at 1 in his wide receiver list. Brian Thomas Jr. at 2. Then there's a gap. Then it's Harrison and Odunze. Do you see Odunze actually reacted to it yesterday? He was like what?
Right.
You got me where exactly? I don't know. Rome Odunze may be the guy that I most covet among the guys I think really don't have any chance to fall to 17.
Yeah.
I just don't see it with him. Big. He can outrun guys, outjump guys. He's a contested catch monster. I think he had 21 contested catches, guys hanging all over him last year in college. Great red zone weapon, but he can get deep as well. I like him a bunch. I think he'd be a great fit for what the Jags have, but I do think it would take a move up the board to go get him.
I think so too.
And would I be willing to do that? Yeah, it depends on what that cost is now, but generally it's not cheap.
No.
Jump from 17 anywhere up around the top 10.
Someone on the text line was asking about, making a move maybe in the draft to go get Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And so I went and looked, and again, these things aren't exact. Like, it's not exact math if you go look at the draft value charts, right? But I went and looked at a draft value chart and said, okay, let's say he gets to 10.
Okay.
Right, and you wanted to go make that move. The cost to the Jags would be 17, their second-round pick and a fifth-round pick to get from 17 to 10, right? In this year's draft. Now, I'm not saying it's not worth that if that's the player that you have circled as that's the difference for us, is getting that player. But that's probably more expensive than most fans have in their mind as far as what that kind of move would take. Like, it's not cheap to get from 17 to 10, and odds are 10's not going to be high enough to get you Marvin Harrison Jr.
Maybe it's a Dunze at 10. Maybe.
Right. So maybe if it gets outside that top 10 and you're not having to maybe that fifth turns into a sixth or something like that. But odds are, if you're going to make the move to get to Odunze, if you're talking about being in the top 13, right, to go make that move, you're probably going to have to give up your second-round pick with the first-round pick to make that happen.
All right, here's a person. People are just unrealistic. All right, I'd look at a trade with the Jets to get the 10th pick. What are you giving up? Second round and a fourth round and maybe a third next year. Wait a minute. And the first? Because you're not coming from the 48th pick to the 10th pick for a third and a fourth rounder as compensation. You won't get to the first round with that. No. Never mind the 10th pick in the draft. If this is what you think the deals are to be made out there, no wonder you think that Balky can't get anything done. Nobody's getting those deals done. No. Are you kidding? I mean, yeah, I would do that too, right? I love if Balky was any good, he'd be able to trade up and get this guy. Oh, really? I mean, because those teams have to be willing to move out of selecting those premium players and giving that up for the compensation you'd like to spend.
You're in a whole league that thinks all these guys are premium players. You're not the only one who thinks so.
Right. And I mean, there are times when it behooves you to just say, hey, you know what? We need so much. Let's get out of here. But that doesn't mean you're taking a discount, particularly in a year when people are going to be moving around for quarterbacks. Yeah. Right? There are going to be more suitors in there driving the price up. I think people live in fantasy land. So if you think you're getting from the 48th pick to the 10th pick for a third and a fourth rounder.
That's crazy.
I mean, honest to gosh, Tony, I don't think you're getting to the 32nd pick with that.
Does
Maybe
that
you
work
get
in
to the 32nd
Madden?
pick.
Like,
I don't know what works
I hope
in Madden.
not.
But if so, Madden needs a reboot.
Yes.
All right, let's say hello to XL Primetime. All right, Matt Hayes is along with us. XL Primetime, getting ready to launch for the next 3 hours. What's up, Matthew?
What are you guys trying to move from where to where?
I wasn't trying to move anywhere. You know, we're saying today, our question of the day, do a Tuesday top 5 list, is who are your top 5 guys that you think have a realistic chance to be there for the Jags, right? So some people are like, they might put a guy that we think is not going to be there. So we're debating who would you move up for, you know, like an Adunze, sure. And then we're talking about, you know, some people have asked, what would it cost to go get Marvin Harrison? Well, everything. Your whole draft, it cost your first rounder next year, the 17th. It costs a ton to get up to the 4th. When there's a market for teams wanting to get up there for a quarterback, you're going to have to outbid all these teams. So I don't think there's a prayer of that. And somebody said in one of the chat lines here, I would try for the Jets' 10th overall pick. I'd offer the 48th, a 4th, and our 3rd next year.
And?
Aren't you forgetting like 2 first round? Like, you're not jumping from 48 to 10. No one's dropping from 10 to 48 in this draft. No matter what, and no matter how many future first rounders you put on the table, nobody is dropping out of it, because GMs are going to be like, well, that's great. The next GM's going to have a lot of draft capital to spend when I got no job because I didn't have the 10th damn pick in the draft. I got nothing to show for him. So, anyway, Matt.
Did you guys?
How are
you? Did you come up with a? So who's your group of players who would be worth moving up?
Look, there are a bunch of guys. It depends on the cost. You know,
Right.
like there are a lot of guys we like. I mean, any of the guys on our wish list, Brian Thomas, Quinion Mitchell, Jared Verse. There are a whole bunch of guys that if you like them strong enough at 17, a small move up the board would be okay.
Like if they're still there at 12, 13, 14.
But you better feel
trigger.
like that guy is the one-off at that spot. Like, if I don't get Quinion Mitchell and I get Terry and Arnold, I'm good. If I don't get Terry and Arnold and I get Cooper DeJean, I'm probably pretty good, right? So, I don't know. I think it's such a target-rich environment. The Jags need to be going the other way. You know, move back. Yeah, if they move. Right. Like, if they stand and they love a guy, fine. But I could absolutely see, like, 2 or 3 corners you like, 3 or 4 offensive linemen you like, a receiver or 2 that even, like, maybe you wouldn't take them both at 17, but if I move back to 23, whatever, I think so for me.
So you're looking to get multiple starters is what you're saying?
I would.
If I could.
If I can swing it, right? Like, I'm not going to drop out of a range where I'm not going to get a guy who can help me. Now, that'd be a little different if it's the right offensive lineman. I'm willing to wait on his impact for a year. You know, I feel that's different than drafting Brenton Strange or Tank Bigsby. Those aren't premium positions. If you get a guy you think is a long-term pair with Anton Harrison as your tackles, I'm okay if you bring that guy in, let them all compete for a year, and if he ends up, you know, adjusting to the NFL on the bench for a season, I don't think that's the worst use of your resources. So, who's your number 1 for 17 right now that you think has a chance to be there?
I've been saying all along. I mean, I want offensive line. I don't think that's where they're headed.
No, but who do you want?
I mean, I would probably say JPJ would be the guy. One, can you stick him at guard, and then when Morse leaves in a year or 2 years, you move him back to center, and he's your center for the next 8 years.
Yeah, I'd rather, if I'm going to go lineman there, give me a guy who projects as a future tackle. Like, I think like Fuanga and Fautanu, if I'm saying them at all right.
See, I think they got their left tackle. I really do. I really think if you tell Walker Little from the very first day of the first day you meet as a team, you are our left tackle, period, go.
Okay, are they going to do that?
We'll see.
He's going to be, you are our swing tackle, go. I mean, why would they have not already done that and moved on from Cam and saved all that cap space?
I have no idea, but there's still plenty of time to move on from Cam.
Sure there is, but I don't think they're doing it for Walker Little. They already would have done it. Like, why do it now?
Maybe they didn't get the right deal they wanted. Certainly possible.
I mean, now all the players, you could have had that extra $60 million. You might have had Ridley and Armstead.
No, I agree. My point is now down the road, it's going to be something in training camp. If somebody has a left tackle that blows his knee out,
maybe
then they come to you. You get probably a.
Do they want him or do they want the cheaper Walker Little?
Fourth or third, maybe. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you give up at that point?
I'm just saying, I don't think this team is handing anything to Walker Little. I think their actions say otherwise. You know, I think it's much more likely they would draft a guy that would eventually replace
the
Cam.
real discussion there is Walker Little hasn't done anything to make them hand him anything, right? Like, he's had opportunities the last couple years and hadn't won anything in their eyes.
He played pretty well at the end of 2022.
But they don't, for whatever reason, when they're getting to watch him every day, they're not saying this guy has to be a starter somewhere for us. I'm with you. Like,
I would training him at guard. I would have been comfortable
because he can't win a tackle spot. Yeah. But it's been there for him since he got here.
Unfortunately, it does feel like those questions have been asked and answered. You know, from a team perspective, I'm with you. I'm comfortable with Walker Little being my left tackle. They keep telling us over and over with the way that they react to him. They're not comfortable with it for whatever reasons they have.
Clearly.
All right, LL Bean. You said dated a girl in college from Maine. I had a lot of LL Bean clothes back in the day.
What was she like, by the way?
She was awesome.
Really?
Her. Yeah, her mom was a sheep farmer from Maine.
Nice.
Awesome girl, man. Really, really cool girl. But way back in the day. Gretchen Carter. All right,
there's no doubt in my mind her name was Gretchen from
Gretchen.
Maine.
We called her Boo, though. That was her nickname back in the day. Shout out Flagler College, mid-'80s. All right, there we go. XL Primetime coming up next. What's wrong with Gretchen, by the way? It's a beautiful name. Come on, beautiful name. All right, thanks to the Hammer, Hayes Carline, for joining us. Glad we could bring you some thoughts from Eric Armstead. Didn't get to everything. We'll have a little bit more tomorrow. Johnny O will stop by as well. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around for XL Primetime next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's Jaguars Today, Tuesday.
Brought to you by